horsemanship remark show. We should probably let Emma do that.
No, I think you're getting good at it. Welcome to
Mm,
the Horsemanship Remark Show. I say I'm Emma Daly Klein, and this is
yeah.
Michael Farley. It's the first day of 2026.
Yes. New Year.
Happy New Year,
It
everybody.
is. Lydia said it to me so much more delighted. I mean, you said it happy, and I'm saying it very matter of fact, but Lydia was like fascinated. It's 2026, Dad. This is a new year. I think it's probably the first time it's meant anything to her. Like, time is passing. I'm getting older.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Is she 10 this year?
She'll be 10 this year.
Yeah. And her birthday is right before mine? Is it
Mm,
the 23rd or something?
what's that?
Her birthday is the 23rd, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. When's yours?
25.
Okay. And Levi's is 29,
Yep. And your mom's.
28.
Yep. We're all Geminis. We're so cool.
How do you
Mm-hmm.
remember my mom's birthday? My gosh.
We're all Geminis.
Uh, I don't even remember yours, and it's like right between my
I know.
kids.
That's all right.
I have to
That.
think. I have to think about the kids all the time though, because they're a week apart. I'm like, which one's which?
Oh yeah. Yep. Julie says Happy New Year. Jeannie says Happy New Year. Happy New Year, you guys. I'm kind of excited about it this year, I guess. I'll cautiously optimistic. Good morning, Corey. Happy New Year. Uh, because I'll probably never be as happy go lucky or unconcerned as I was at the beginning of 2020. But lots of good things. And I'm pretty excited for the challenge this year. What's your barn? Everybody
I'm
ready to
I'm
roll?
not sure. It's been a little quiet around here.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
you want to know a
a
weird thing?
lot of snow and ice. That really deters people. Mike did a great job of clearing. Um, on our way back from Missouri, we got stuck in Missouri with the storm across the Midwest. It wasn't like we couldn't have made it home, but no one was feeling real great. And it's like, we got the extra day. Why risk life and limb? So we stopped in Kansas City, we went to the World War I museum. It's
Oh,
cool. So we got home a day late. Mike cleared everything. It was nice to come home to a not a pile of snow. I mean, there's a pile of snow, but I didn't have to move very much of it. And it's snowing right now. Looks very nice. Big snowflakes.
aw. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm excited. People keep asking me how the weather is, when I come to your house. And I'm always like, well, it's really pretty. It's cold, but really pretty.
Right now it is very pretty. I got with like fresh snow. Right
Yeah,
when it sat there for a while, the prettiness fades. But one new blanket and it's all pretty again.
that's right. That's right. Well, everybody's going to get tucked in and ready to roll. So here,
We I will get the beat on the barn this afternoon. We're doing a New Year's party.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
so remind everybody that they need to be in, but they probably already know, but be in by Saturday night at midnight. But you want to hear a crazy thing? So
What?
there is a ghost in the machine. I kind of noticed this after the throwdown was over. All of a sudden, I started getting these random notifications on Facebook that so and so accepted your invitation to join the throwdown, and so and so
Mm.
accepted your. And it was like random people, like my childhood friends that have nothing to do with horses. And so it's like, it was really weird. It happened maybe like 5 or 6 times or something like that. And you just think, oh, okay, I can't deal with that right now. They're gonna get there and notice that it has nothing to do with them. It's fine. Okay, but here's the thing. I created the 12-week horsemanship challenge page, the group page last week, and
Mhm.
it started letting people through just randomly. That's the thing. And there's a setting on the admin side where it says who is pre-approved to join.
No one.
Uh-huh. And who gets to, approve it. And there is
I would be scared. Less optimistic for 2026 than you were years ago.
uh, well,
Shit like that starts going down.
yeah, it's a bad deal. So
Scary.
600, 700 people waiting at the gate and 50 people that are just randomly in the, so they know the
How
deal.
do
Yeah,
I get to be one of these people that just randomly gets through?
I would have no idea how to tell you to
Well,
randomly get through. You could try, you could line up at the gate and maybe it would do it. I mean, I don't
just
know.
maybe sneak through
Yeah.
backdoor entrance.
So I told everybody your punishment for getting through early is that they have to be part of the welcoming committee. So,
Are these people? They're all people, friends of yours that you know.
well, they're challenge people, I think. I
So you're
don't.
like having a backdoor chat with all these folks that none of us.
Yes. It's so weird. Nancy Carpenter, like, I'm like,
Mm-mm.
and some of them are saying, some of them are saying, accepted your invitation. I'm like, no. And then you can also go back and look at the activity. And there are times when it says, that I did XYZ. I'm like, no, I was nowhere near the computer at that. I was like in a meeting. It had nothing to do. So it's a pretty weird glitch. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't update my app till today. So I don't know if that, but I did change my password. I'm like, if someone has my username and password, they're being pretty quiet about it. Usually they go in and wreak havoc. I've never been hacked before, but it didn't fix the problem. So I'm guessing it's a glitch on Facebook's side.
Might
And
have to close the gate, shut the
what
page down, start again. Even though there's how many people did you say waiting?
700.
700. It's freaking insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's not that too crazy
What?
because
Oh, I know, but well, yeah, it is. Okay, it's not too crazy. But finish your statement.
but I did have it, available earlier. So we'll see, what happens in the next few days. But it could be that that's like the bulk of everybody. We'll see. The biggest thing, so if you guys are listening, listen, listen. The biggest thing is please do not just invite someone to join the group. I understand that how a lot of times it works, but here's the problem is I can't let them through unless they see the rules, right? Cuz otherwise meaning the guidelines for the challenge and
You
them
have
to
to like fill out
yes.
the community whatever. These are the rules of the page. Yes, the rules. I don't know why I was trying to find a
Well,
different rule.
because there are rules like
Well, don't. It's like the community
guidelines and stuff. Yes.
page that's like, don't post this, that, or the other things. These admins are really snarky and picky, or these admins are super lax, or
Yes.
depends on what page you're in. Don't sell horses, don't sell tack, just tell us about events. That sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And so there is that, but then there's also like here's what we're doing. We're picking one
Yes.
horse, and so if you just add people, then what ends up happening is they're sitting there at the gate. It's not going to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish is what I'm saying. Because when I
They
let
won't realize there's a thing to
yeah,
sign.
it won't have they won't get through, then they'll hear about later because you'll be talking about it, and you'll be like, I invited you, and then I won't have let them through because they didn't know what the challenge was, they didn't say what their challenge horse is, and so they just end up getting left at the gate. I was saying the other day that a lot of times I'll leave 3 or 400 people at the gate because so I'm and it's just so listen, share the either the Northwood Farms challenge um the Northwood Farms website challenge, or you can there's a button where you can share the group with the person, and if you really want them to be a part of it, then tell them about it. Then if they're interested, they can get part of it. Susan, good morning. Happy New Year. So that's my advice, because it cannot be that or that anybody that's in there doesn't know. Now, if Facebook just randomly lets a bunch of people in, that doesn't know what are we going to do, you know? So I was thinking about how much effort we have put into keeping the challenge sacred, over the years, and making
What
it valuable.
what year did it blow up? Or was it always gradual? Like each year
Not probably the third year, I would say.
exponentially or
Yeah. The first year I think it was 21, the second year it was like 120, and then the third year it was probably 350-ish. So, but then it grew. I think our peak was 1700, which, the funny thing is that there's other people that kind of, did their own thing, and have built huge businesses on, like, with hundreds of thousands of people, as part of the challenge. And that just was never going to be our deal, because we kind of want, and I think that's a little bit what makes it special. Little bit is that people can interact, like, a little bit more frequently, and you're not just in a pile of 70,000 people.
mhm.
So that's where, like, lifelong friendships end up getting made, I think. And that's pretty cool. So I'm excited. Pretty sure I'm picking novella, so that'll be fun. Hmm.
Who'd you
So
pick last year?
I think novella.
Well,
Mhm. Just got done with all my tracker sheets. I'm about ready to gather them all up and put them into the 2025 file, and put all my new sheets out.
so your sheets are paper.
They are
You come to the house,
correct.
you jot it all down.
Hmm.
8 by 11. Each one has a notebook.
No, just 8 by 11. So they're on my buffet, on our buffet, like in the dining room. Beauty of being a grown up with your own house. So they're all laid out, because there's a lot of them. So they're all laid out on the
So
buffet.
who did you spend the most time with this year?
I think it was novella. I did a lot of hours, of course, with the Mustangs. Novella, Rook, Lexi, River. Um, this is why I have to write it. Mowgli. Actually, a lot of hours with Mowgli. Um, I feel like there's somebody else. But then there's medium amounts, like Feather, I would say a medium amount. Um, but yeah, probably. Why I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. But
Hard
anyway,
to remember them all when you got 45.
I don't know. And so coming into the house at the end of the day, just marking them off. So it's kind of fun to go back and look through. I was just talking to Debbie yesterday about flour, and I was like, adding it all up to where we are now, it was 75 hours, I think, total, like absolute total. So I was thinking, by the time I took Feather home from Debbie's, now she was much more halter broke. Flowers never had a halter on her, but I had spent 100 hours with her. Kind of interesting how it adds up. And I really find it interesting, what the product, right around that 40 hours, 30 rides, and what do you think about the fact that a lot of times for people that's spread out over, 3 to 6 months. In the challenge, we're being serious about keeping it on task and putting it into 3 months. But, for most people, 3 to 6 months is pretty typical. but you really do end up with something. But like if you're getting paid to ride horses, then it's a lot of times
Condensed.
mm, condensed into 30 days, or probably even if the colt starter says 30 days, it's probably 60 days or so, before you would get the horse back. If they really
Yeah.
spent 40 hours with them. So
Yeah,
I guess
I'm always like it's kind of open ended as to when we're done, either because some horses you want to hang on to longer, and most folks are pretty cool with that. But also, if I'm away, like that just pushes it out. So, and I don't want to like detail out to everyone. I used to. It was so stupid. I used to be like, I'm gonna be gone this week, so the training will actually go to this date, and it's like I'll just keep track of it, and if I'm gone, I'm gone. I'll just push it out a little further.
sorry. That's right. And that's why I think keeping track of the hours and your rides is the smartest thing to do because,
Hmm.
but what do you think in terms of the value of spreading it out over, you know,
Mm,
I think sometimes that's a benefit rather than a negative.
yeah, that's one I always try to think about. Like if I know I'm leaving, how much do I want to get through? Like what point do I want to get to, ideally, before I'm out for a week, let's say, off doing a clinic or something, or even just a long weekend. Um, do you leave it off a day earlier because that was the spot to bank it? You know, some horses you put in multiple rides because like this horse needs to come along a little further. Like I need to get through this spot, or want to get enough repeats, get enough rides in, so it's not like a week from now I'm kind of starting over at the same spot. It's going to go quicker, but you don't want seven first second rides spread out because you only got two in. Hope another day or two. And that just doesn't work. So it's cool with your own horse or with one that's kind of there and you're in and out. That sort of rhythm's all right, but it doesn't work for starting a colt. So
Hmm.
it
Yeah, that's a.
just feels like the first five rides are first or second rides. I mean, you don't. It's got to build on itself.
Mhm. Yeah, there's certainly sections, but they're not that many
Yeah,
where.
mostly it's the first few rides you want to stack on, and you can have days in between. You just like a day or two, but you can't have day two on, 2 days off, a day on, 2 days off, or yeah. It also depends on the horse. Some horses you kind of can get away with that because this is just an easy start anyway. But
Mhm.
other horses you need to go through till they're like, oh, okay, settling into this, comfortable with the deal. I got it. We repeat it. It's just part of my new life. 2026. Here we go.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's interesting to look at some of the like flower is a good example of like I kind of look at her at this point and think, I suspect you're going to be actually really easy to start, you know? So the different sticking points, I guess, is what I'm thinking. So I have a sticking point right now with Rook. But then you think of the whole body of work around it, and you're like, wow, all of that is pretty settled. But then you come across something that, you know, is it just either harder for that particular horse or mule,
Yeah.
you know? But once you're through that, then you can go really fast. But people who have and I've done this too, that honeymoon phase that we were talking about. Oh, my horse is so perfect. Everything is so perfect. And then they run into a snag, and the world can seem like it's crashing down and nothing's going to get better. I was thinking last night as I left Debbie's, I was like, okay, time to employ the 3 days, the Nathan Griner 3 days. You, until you've had 3 bad days in a row, you're not allowed to freak out.
No, I don't want the dog in here. Sorry.
Happy New Year, Sarah. So,
Um, oh, I had a thought, but now it's escaped. The door was opened. Hmm. What was it?
to do with sticking points, are we going to do word of the year? Do you guys have a word of the year? Like my
Sticking
coach,
points.
yeah, sticking. Well, I think it doesn't it make sense that every horse is going to have something, or it's often that way. You know what else I was thinking, Michael, is
Oh,
it's
I
really,
know what I was going to say.
oh, go ahead then. Better.
So with the sticking points, another thing you got to do, at least I feel it's important to do, is two things. Once things are going along, is give them that time off, and especially if you've had some sticking points or there's been a little trouble along the way, give them time off because inevitably they go home. They're going to have time off somewhere in there, and you don't want their first time coming back, let's say, from a longer stretch off to be with the owner who that trouble shows up again, or you just see whether it does. If it does, then you deal with it. If it doesn't, cool, good. It carries a little longer. So that's one of the things I like to do, and then I do like to have other people get on the horse that I trust that have some feel, not just throw anybody on there, but um, so the horse gets used to a slightly different feel and seeing where they can ask questions and fill in. So
Gary's always talked about different saddles too,
mm,
is a benefit.
that kind of happens all the time around here because someone else has got that saddle. All right, I guess I gotta use this one. So yeah,
Yes. So, Katie, good morning. Happy New Year. The dressage queen. Do you do dressage? Well, I would say yes. I come from a dressage background, but also we have to decide what your definition of dressage is, right? You probably have a dressage definition if you are the dressage queen. Um, yeah, having different people and different saddles and different environments. That's one of the things that
different
I have.
environments is so tough when you have a busy life and a bunch of horses, unless your lifestyle is showing or ranching or there's natural exposure happening because you're always hauling somewhere. That to me is the hardest one. Inside, outside, out over the hill in the pasture, it gets you somewhere, but that's different than popping out of a trailer, which I don't get done with every horse. Some people do, some people can. Unfortunately, that's not part of my setup to happen with every horse.
Yeah. Mhm. Let's see. What do we have here? I mean, I compete at national level dressage doing elementary test and stuff. Particular definition. Yeah. Yeah. I don't compete. Have competed, but I don't compete right now. Speaking of which, getting your horse out to shows is such a huge value. If anybody is in Oregon, you guys, what is the Facebook page for all the shows, like the open shows and all of that? I don't see that. Also, dressage queen, it is difficult around here. I'm in Western Oregon to see from the outside. I've been a member of the Oregon Dressage Society on and off for many, many years, but have found it difficult to get plugged into that. But like you were just saying, Michael, the thing is, taking one or two horses out, that definitely sets up, your whole day.
Well,
So,
and where are you taking them out? Like if you're taking them out somewhere to go out on a trail, you can't just leave one horse tied to a trailer, public space, you know, it's been tied in the barn, but this is the first time you're leaving it out and alone in the wild. Like
yeah,
I don't want to come back and have someone horse that's not my own all bruised up or whatnot on the side of the trailer. So you have to have enough horses to leave one, or have enough people with you to take them all out, or go somewhere where you can have a safe place to tie or a pen to throw them in. So
yeah, all
or a
true.
stall. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and
you're
so
showing. You usually paying for a stall for the day or whatever. But
yeah, that's true. That's a big, and then you don't want to be too disruptive if your horse is really going to have trouble, you know.
and then when you talk about repeats, that's the sort of thing you may need to repeat. You don't want to hit it once.
Excellent point.
Have it be a challenge and not continue to go at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's where picking the one horse to focus on, throughout the year, even those of us who are riding a lot of different horses. The Dressage Queen is in the UK. Oh, nice. The UK is kind of nice because it's a little bit more squashed in, right? So you guys can get to a lot of places way, way easier. Um, so yeah, so the deal is Michael and I have both been students of Buck Brannaman for a lot of years. Before that, oh my gosh, I've ridden with some great dressage people here. I don't currently ride in a dressage saddle very often because my horses go so nicely in the Wade saddle. My Our friend Michelle, who might come to your clinic, so you've seen her on the Heart and Soul at Horsemanship Insider. Yeah. A couple of the girls are talking about coming out. You
Cool.
guys should needle him. Yeah, who else was I additionally talking to? Joanne from California was talking about coming too, just for
Oh,
fun,
cool.
camaraderie, because I always talk about how amazing you guys are. But she has shown some pictures of her horse's top line over the last 6 months changing. Oh, I'm like pretty excited about it. She's doing a great job.
Cool.
Hmm. Yeah. And I was watching Lexi go around yesterday because I finally cracked her out again. And man, it's amazing to see. She's a saddlebred. Amazing to see the body, you know, do so many different things within the space of 30 seconds. You know, it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Speaking of saddlebreds, I don't have the details because I popped it open and glanced at it quick. Didn't memorize the details, but remember the octopus,
Yes.
Von Dutch, saddlebred, something cross. Got like horse of the year wherever in Wisconsin or some regional, whatever. And then up and died. It's so annoying. The best
Oh,
ones. Yeah.
oh,
But yeah, I just out of the blue, well, she asked about bringing a 3-year old here. Like, sure, how's Von Dutch doing? And she sent me this Facebook post with all the ribbons and what all he did, and then that he passed. Like, it was a cool horse.
I,
Remember how like at first it was like, damn, this horse, what are these gates even gonna feel like? Didn't feel like he can move, but then once I got him truly forward, it was like, whoa, this horse can cover some ground, feels really powerful, knows where his legs are now. Um, so yeah, it really came together for him. But
um, he turned into so good. He's only 6 or some 5 though.
yeah, he was young, so I don't know how old he was, probably 4 when he was here, and this is a couple of years ago, maybe now.
Horses will break your heart. That's what they say. I was just talking to Buck about this the other day. I was like, I have a real problem with committing as much as I did, 20 years ago to a particular horse. Just I have loss aversion so bad, and I really just struggle with putting too much effort into one. I struggle more, let's say, than I used to. Just like you got to commit, and if sadly that happens, that's just part of it. There's an
Yeah.
element of that, so I've really been thinking about that actually quite a bit. So the dressage queen, oh, that sounds great. Really cool. Yeah, speaking of dressage, um rhythm. I was watching Novella's canter change. That's been interesting. Um that's been very interesting. Just actually, you know what else has happened, Michael, over the last few months? Like really being able to see balance in a new way. That's hard to believe at times. You're like, am I just now seeing that?
Yeah. And then once you see it, it's hard not to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how did that happen?
Yeah. It's always the how did I miss that?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So getting our horses out and about and picking a horse or two. Oh, I wanted to tell
Go
you.
back to the like loss aversion and like let's spread this thin, work with lots of horses, not get too attached. You know, don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and then um so we were talking last night, just friends over dinner, about surprises or things that you enjoyed most of the year or whatever, all that. Um, and I was like, I don't know. I had a few. I was like, surprises. That dang Heidi is still alive, and her foot. I don't know if I told you when the farrier came out and just lopped off all of the like way too much. He probably rasped off an inch of hoof wall, like no exaggeration, because it was like horned out there, like the donkeys that look like they've been way over trimmed. Because we had to be careful how much we were taking, because it was so. He lopped off. Her foot looks practically freaking normal. There's still an open spot on the toe. I mean, I was having to wrap it and the whole deal, and then it's snowy and icy, and what the hell do I do? Because now she's got duct tape on her foot. She's fine in the stall, but I want her out moving. So once he all, honed it down, rasped it down, I can put it in one of those cloud boots, and now she's out in the pasture with the boot on, and put some little screws in the bottom, give her traction. It's incredible. She's gonna be just fine.
No.
She may have a hitch, which would still be all your eggs in one basket. Pretty disappointing. Not that I put that many eggs in that basket, but certainly a year of rehab has been a lot of eggs in the basket, even if it's not developing her into something. But that just blows me away.
That's amazing. You know, who else? One of our other friends, Tammy, I guess, has found incredible results with the cloud boots. She said
Yeah.
her has grown like a ton of soul. She was showing me, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I'd never really heard of them, you know.
Yeah, for right now, I mean, I took the cushion out of the bottom. It's basically just a wrap that I don't have to wrap every couple days. And because the farrier said just put like light little tap screws in the bottom, not enough that if they kick something they're going to tear it up, and they're not real aggressive, but just enough to give traction because the bottom's just hard plastic, especially when it's really cold. Um, and yeah, it's working great. For a
Cool.
long time, I had it on the standing leg that wasn't injured, just to give her a little extra cushion and support, because she was basically standing on that and twisting and pivoting, for months. So
Oh, you
anyway,
just, oh my gosh, is
I
this,
know.
that is so exciting.
Well, and
Congratulations.
that's why to get her out, it's like even if she's happy go lucky in a stall and has a good attitude about it, it's like all the twisting on, you know, but yeah, super exciting. I'm more hopeful than ever that she's golden now. It's still gonna be time. Who knows how long it's gonna take for that gap to close up, but
Wow. That's huge. That's huge. So for those of you guys that are listening, give the quick
oh,
synopsis.
okay. So Heidi's a German riding pony. Um, real, I like her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put so much into this. But
Sure.
super spunky. The intent is for her to be my daughter's horse. I think their personalities will match and have a ton of fun together. And whatever she wants to do, English Western, it'll be pretty cool looking. But broke a splint bone, was on stall rest, wasn't happy with the horse next to her when she was feeding, persistently kicked the stall, didn't realize it was happening, and seriously separated her hoof wall, like high, like incredible degrees of rotation to where it looked like her coffin bone was about to pop through the sole, and the sole was no longer connected to the hoof wall. We wondered if there was even blood flow, if it could even heal. We're about to put her down, took the boot off, go eat some grass, have fun, and she went with a pretty good hitch, but went cantering around the pasture and stopped and ate and then ran off and bucked and farted. And it's like, well, let's see what happens. Just give her more time. So wrapped it up. Didn't turn her out in a big pasture, but didn't, put her in a dry lot area that was pretty level. She couldn't get too wild. Um, but got her out of the stall, got her moving. Lily pad is like a therapeutic thing that basically supports the frog. She basically walked on that for months and months, had that wrapped to the bottom of her foot because there was nothing there for her soul. And the coffin bone to keep it off the ground. That was, if I didn't have that, she wouldn't have made it. So that testimony to that thing being worthwhile to have in your medical kit. Um, and yeah, almost a year later, I'm pretty confident she's going to come together. But I mean, that foot looked gnarly for the longest time, but you didn't want to take anything out of it because she was walking on like the bars of her feet on the side and this lily pad supporting the frog. There was nothing around the front or around the toe, and it was wide open. I mean, like,
I'm so glad you showed me.
there were actually maggots in her foot at one point.
Mhm.
Right around the time we were considering, like, there's a lot of dead shit in there. Maybe we should do medical maggots. And like 2 weeks later, there's like actual maggots in her foot. I'm like, "Oh." Wasn't sure if I wanted to get rid of them, but then I was spraying them with iodine, and so then eventually they all went away fairly quickly. And but yeah, it's all
That's awesome.
so that was one of the big surprises of 2025 for me. So
Yeah, that's a such a pleasant surprise. How
yeah,
cool. How cool is that? So when do you estimate that this would be really
there no idea. I
okay?
mean, vet fair, they'd never seen anything quite like this. I think what's happening is inside of that clamshell of the hoof wall that had been so separated and the sole, there was basically a new hoof growing inside of there that's healthy. So the sole still has flaps that I can peel away at the toe and like almost stick my finger in there. But there's so much depth to the healthy sole at the back of the foot. I think that underneath this sole, there's a gap of like separation and death. But as soon as that sheds away, I think there's going to be a sole with a hoof wall that's connected that just works its way out, is my suspicion. I mean, that's basically what's happening, what seems to be happening so far. I think it's just going to continue that way.
So 6 months, something like
Well, it's
one.
not even like the front of her hoof goes right from the coronet band down to the ground.
Oh, okay.
But I think there's still separation in there because a lot of that was, if your angle was supposed to be here, her hoof was literally like that. So coffin bone is in here, hoof wall should be here, but there was so much excess to the hoof wall and lamina that were rough And so he took all of this off, and it was kind of a weird color. So this was hoof wall. Between that hoof wall and what I believe is new hoof wall, there was all this dead lamina in here that was just discolored and whatever. So he rasped all of this down to there. So now from cornet band to the ground looks like, if you didn't pick up the foot looks normal. But then underneath there's still gap right in here where you can kind of get under just the toe of the sole. It used to be like you could have shoved a hoof knife up in there because the whole sole was sloughing away. But now, I mean, we have really good depth in the sole in the back and really up front at the front of the cornet, or front of the coffin bone, is pretty well supported too. But there's something loose in there. But I think inside there it is kind of working its way out to do that and be connected. We'll see. So I don't know how long. So it's not like the hoof wall needs to grow down. It probably does, but you can't tell because there was so much. It was so thick. You can't tell how far from the ground
Mm-hmm.
the like connected healthy part is. So it's hard to read from the front of the foot how much time it's going to take to grow out a completely not structurally compromised or damaged capsule. Um, but from the sole, I mean, the little flakes at the end are very very thin. So I mean, that would be like a couple months maybe of trimming before enough sole would grow down that that would all be sloughing away from front to back. Um, so I don't know. We'll see. It's very hard to tell how much longer before it's. And it's good. It's very possible that I could have her out without a boot on right now. Like, I don't think that opening goes back very far. Um, I mean, not all this time wrapping her. It's like, let's just wrap her for another few months, make sure it stays clean. And, you know, boot came off the other day, first time in over a year here. The boot came off. So she's running around, but it was like so much snow. So it was actually probably cleaner than it would have been with the boot and whatever funk was in there from sitting wrapped.
The abrasion sometimes can clean it too, right? With the
Yeah.
snow. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's like your white horses after a good snow, they're cleaner than after a bath.
Yeah. Emily, no kidding, right? Insane. So cool. Yeah. Some of us have gotten to see said miracle horse. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting. You guys just went for it. I think you all had a really good attitude about it, but that's incredible. What a fun story.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. Well,
I told the vet you need to write a paper, and she's like, "Well, I don't know. What would my paper be? Sit there and wait?" I just watched this happen. Like, I didn't do anything. I mean, we didn't. There was nothing special in terms of interventions here, really,
y-
outside of patience.
yeah, but the observation of like what
What's
happened,
possible? Yeah,
yeah, and just how it all evolved, I think that's
yeah.
really interesting.
I do have a lot of pictures and videos to
Yes, you do.
track the progress.
Mm.
So
Well,
anyway,
what is your plan for Rooster?
keep going. I guess be more consistent. The challenge will help. Um, get through law school. That's going to help.
Hmm.
It's been a it's been an odd or a different 2.5 years so far. Um, and kids are getting older. That will change the dynamic a little bit too. But um, yeah, keep going. Um, even when rides are further and farther between than I'd like them to be, it's kind of like, wow, he just slots right in. And it's like you say, how did I not see this balance before? Like new level, pretty well every ride. It's like, okay, how have we not happened upon this before? Either he's getting there, finding it because I'm offering something a little different, or he's been doing it all along, and I'm much more aware and feeling a roundness, a throughness, a power. But I mean, sky's the limit. Cross fingers that he holds himself together. You know, fussy little thoroughbred that he is, out with other horses. He's out with a new horse that's just brutal on him. He's got bites all over him, and his blanket's all torn up. Actually, when I was gone, like his blanket disintegrated. I guess it just was ripped to shreds. Thankfully, it wasn't around his legs. Whatever. I didn't get a picture of what it looked like, but he's got a new blanket on. It's already got holes in it.
That's the worst when they have a
Well,
blank.
yeah, that's the annoying thing. It's like my horse isn't hard on blankets, but it's the dang horse he's in with. I should start charging, making them buy me blankets.
Yeah. I know. Beth and I used to have that with our thoroughbreds. It's like, oh, the blanket rotation is brutal.
You know,
So many giant blankets right now. I don't have any giant horses except but I just have one.
Talking about feet, though, back to that topic, Rooster has way more. I don't know that his soul is necessarily deeper, but way more cup to his foot than I've ever seen. Um, you know, have shoes on him in the summer, and his foot like basically is straight up flat. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Not as flat as a lot of thoroughbreds. I mean, there still is some to it, but when you put to get it down flat enough to put a shoe on there and have some hoof wall, and there's not a lot of cup to the foot. But right now, it's like, wow, you must have a lot of sole in there. But it's just like the cold, the abrasion that you don't get when they're wearing a shoe.
Mhm.
Healthy um, shedding of sole and all that. Not standing in muck this time of year is pretty nice. Get a break from that when it's
Ugh.
so freaking cold. But
Yeah.
anyway, we're back to feet again, which isn't typically the topic of our
I think
conversations.
I think it's
Horses have feet. I mean, you got to talk about feet sometimes.
had different idea about feet too. But when you look at your horse's foot and there is a lovely cup, that is a
Yeah.
very exciting, deal. Gary, the way he trims horses, I'm always like, holy, if I had all the money in the world, I would make you come out and do my horses just because he can get that foot looking so, so nice. But yeah, on a thoroughbred, cup on a thoroughbred, yeah, nice.
Worth noting.
Worth noting. So, and I will also report that I have those my horses on the Cal Trace, the California Trace mineral product, to balance out the hay that I am feeding right now that I really really like, but it's definitely missing a few things, which everyone knows, but it's still the best choice. And I'm really liking it so far. So I would say they've been on it for a month, all of them. I just went all in. So I'm like, I hope this isn't like the hair product that I used." I'm pretty happy with the overall result. So in
Yeah, you
case
do
you don't,
something like that, and you're like, well, I hope it doesn't really screw things up. And I kind of hope it doesn't work as well as it seems like it's working because this is a little bit of an expensive product. I don't want this expense from now on that I can't do without because it's doing so great with my horse.
not
Mm.
bad though. It's really, I think it ends up being, if I remember correctly, 50 cents a day. So $15 a month or something like that. And now per horse, if you have 15 horses, that's
Yeah.
but on the other hand, I feel like that's very reasonable
Hmm.
to balance out everything. Oh man, when it got cold here, they just started sucking down the water. But I'm really so hoof also is part of it, and just she puts everything in it. to balance it for our specific area. But I think I'm really happy so far. So you could call those guys if you guys
Is it
are.
a grain?
Well, you can buy it in a powder, or I buy it in pellets mixed with rice bran. But you get
Okay.
like tiny, a tiny cup of it. I think she's having me. There's two different sizes, but I think I have mine on like the quarter cup, a little bit less than a quarter, 2 ounces or something like that. So a lot of horses in have, they get this much alfalfa pellets, and it's carrying the trays to 15 horses, you guys. That's like,
I like the rhythm of that.
you do.
I
Aw.
mean, thankfully, I don't have to do it every day. I would not enjoy doing it every day because it does, when you don't, when it's not like the focus. Like if you were not onto other things that were more important and you could just casually do it every day and really, I don't know, but that's what I like about it when it can just flow like water.
Yeah.
Like everyone just slots in. And then you have the day where it's all like everybody's fresh or something happened in the woods right before you go and everybody's like bouncing off the walls. So like not every day flows like that, but trying to feel out when it is scurried like that, like how do I simmer this all down and create as much of a flow as possible? Um, yeah, I like the rhythm of that where it can just be like, um, yeah.
I quite
Uh,
dislike.
well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna ask how many horses you're feeding all of your horses every day? No.
Sometimes I wouldn't say that it's, perfectly every day, but yeah. I don't like the fact that they have anxiety around it. Like that, I wish that I didn't have to feed grain at all, or anything in a feed pan. I wish I didn't have to do that at
How
all.
many do that though?
Have anxiety?
Oh.
Oh, I would say all of them. I mean, they see the feed pans coming out and they're
Mm.
like, or if you do it at the same time every day, then they're thinking about it and wondering about it and like all of that. I'm like, yeah, it would
Well,
just.
but okay, so what level of anxiety are we dissatisfied with? Like, I would say probably 4 horses I mean, how many have we, well, leaving aside training horses that it just takes them a while to find the rhythm because they don't know the routine and there is that anxiety not just around, you know, I want to eat that fancy little grain that they're giving me, but also coming out of the pen, loose up the alley, through the back alley, into a stall, shutting doors. So that horse, the other horse, that takes a while for them to get through that. But leaving aside the training horses, who there's always a transition time, and a lot of them slot right in. Some of them stay anxious for a while. That's why they're here, right? But long term horses, I would say there's really only been maybe 4 that have an anxiety around it that I don't care for.
Hmm.
Or it's like some days it's maybe there. Again, like if they're a little more stirred up and everything's kind of heightened, then it's like, I gotta get in there and get because everything's more dramatic. But Digamo gets kind of, I don't like his energy. There's another one who just kind of rushes through gates generally, and they're always working on that. She's not getting grain right now, thankfully, because I don't enjoy dealing with her because it certainly is a
Who?
one a mare that will remain unnamed. Um, and then there are two others that kind of tend to get to the gate and paw and be impatient. So I just everything goes out and that gate gets open right away. Sometimes I can catch it before they even realize. Well, I don't say even everything goes out. I put that pasture's grain out and open the gate and let them in before they even notice it's grain's coming. So I, aside from those that handful, like even if they're at the gate, if they're just like milling around waiting, or even they're like kind of like, oh, here's grain, if they can just casually walk up the hill, or even if they trot up the hill, if it's not a like frantic thing, and then come into the barn, and our barn has a rubber alley and it's not got a lot of tread to it. So if they're coming in there and they're not scooting around, especially this time of year when they got ice balls in their feet, sometimes that can create the anxiety when you're slipping and falling and someone's chasing you back through the alley. Because I don't know. I feel like generally on a day where it's flowing, outside of the one or two horses that are always a little bit too excited about it, I don't feel like there's anxiety across the board.
Yeah.
But there's anticipation, maybe, but that doesn't feel
I guess what
big
I
to me.
it's distraction. Like for instance, um,
Would
and
you
a lot.
say distraction?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. For instance, just let's just say I bring my three little feed tubs over to Debbie's for Lexi and Katniss and Rook, and they're nickering when I get there for the feed pans. Now, I don't know. Maybe you could say it's not anxious. It's not like they're weaving or having a meltdown or anything, but that is what they're thinking about. And I would just rather, if I had my druthers, I would just rather than be like, "Hey, what's going on?" Rather than, "Oh, you're here with the grain, thank God." You know, it's like, eh, that's
Well,
just,
yeah, I think we don't have that set up at all.
yeah. Or like mine, at home, like everybody in their paddocks a lot of times, or in their stalls and paddocks.
Mhm.
And then, like, I
And then
come,
you show up. Yeah,
yeah, I do it a bit different because I don't want it to be like every time they see me,
mhm,
it has anything to do with food. And
yeah,
if you keep grain or hay, as much free choice as possible and full bellies, I don't feel like you have that anxiety.
yeah.
Again, you say maybe one or two that have drama around
So
it.
our horses have the free choice 24/7. We have so many people all hours of the day going in and out. So it's not like, oh, the barn door moved, or grain's being I can hear grain going into a bucket. It's for me. Um Probably the place I see it more is with individual people and individual horses. Like, we're done riding, I've cooled out. Now I hear a grain bucket. Oh, now I want that grain. I want that grain. Yeah. But for
That's
the most part, I don't see that. Yeah, it's weird. The whole anticipation of grain thing. Like, I'm thinking now of scenarios like that. Brody, we've been feeding either while saddling or after riding. Um, just because some years he needs a little bit this time of year, and this is one of those. But like there, it's more. I mean, it's kind of a nice opportunity to teach people like, okay, he's not staying with you. He's not like he's thinking right over top of you or right through you to get to this grain. And like, oh, you step
or
back, you wait.
yeah, but see, that's the thing. It could even be like, because mine back up to get there,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, exactly.
it's not as, but it's a distraction. I
Yeah,
just like there's a difference between being able to come and go in a barn and the horse like just cocking a leg, eating, doing their thing. It's like I don't know. I dislike anything where it
yeah,
screws up the peace. Like for my, if I had
yeah.
my daughters.
So, I mean, when you think of those individual cases, like I say, people bringing the grain pan to the horse in the alley where it gets to be this routine, that I don't like. But those same horses, if we were feeding them in
Of
the regular rotation in the morning, the way we feed and the fact that they have full bellies coming into it, 95% of them would just flow in and out, and it doesn't have that like, oh great, oh open the gate, open the gate. And I don't know, I'm not quite sure why it would be that different. It is interesting because the difference is they're going to the grain is already down in their stall, you know.
well, and then it's the
It's
whole.
interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. There's nothing telling them they can't get there. Well, but the gates are the doors to the stall are shut, so they come and
They're
you
gonna have
know,
anticipation to come in regardless if there's grain.
yeah. I mean, you don't have to go get them. You're
Hmm.
like, oh, okay, it's feeding time. Doors are opening. You know,
Hmm. I used to
but
do that
like
all.
Brody, when Brody is in the back, like right now, because he doesn't really need much grain, we're just giving him some grain when he's in. So like 5 times a week, as opposed to every day, and it's irregular times. Some weeks lessons don't happen, whatever. But if he's in the back, you don't have that at all when he's getting grain every day. So that is interesting.
They can understand context so well, and I guess I just notice like the things that create a disturbance in the peace. I suppose that's just that. It's just noteworthy. I guess that's all. And a necessary evil, obviously. That
You know,
you know. So it's so funny. So my barn is a row of 10. It's 60 feet long, right? So it has 5 stalls on either side, and the Feather is down on the end, on one end. Zorro is on the completely other end, on the same side. And of course, I don't know how she knows when Zorro is getting to go out. She goes out with Zorro. So it's Zorro, Feather, Prim that are on their little rotation together. And I swear I cannot figure out how she's figuring it out. Because it's not when I open his door. It's not. I don't know how she knows it. It's so weird.
you mean
Um.
they pasture together? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
yeah, but my horses don't even go out every day in this weather. They're on a rotation, so they I have 3 different herds. They don't all go out together this time of year.
They take turns.
Mhm, mhm. And Zorro is a little bit, well, anyway, so it's Zorro, Feather, Prim. So she knows who she goes out with. Feather, the mule, you guys, knows who she goes out with. And do not know how she knows, because it's not the same rotation every day. She's not keeping track of like what's sometimes, I could do multiple rotations in a day. Sometimes I don't know.
So you put him out, and she's like, "Time for me to go."
Yeah, but she knows it before I put him out. She knows
Oh,
it before I open his door. She knows it, like, and the reason I know she knows it is because she starts nickering, which is what made me think of it,
hmm.
or brickering, as we say.
Brickering.
Sometimes she can do it like a horse, but a lot of times it does have that little mule sound. So I took Revlon around the outside of the barn yesterday, and of course, Flower is so hurt bound, and she's like, and I heard her make a little squeaky sound. Okay, don't worry. She let me pet her, Michael, in the big arena. Like, I mean, not only did she let me pet her, but she was kind of leaning into it a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, it's a freaking miracle.
Yeah.
It's such a relief to see her neck clean. So anyway, the anxiety slash anticipation. Um, I used to feed my horses grain. I used to do it the way you're talking about, is put it in the stall, so that they have it on their way in. Um, I used to feed them after riding, after play. That used to be kind of like part of the routine. Don't do that anymore. I'm actually really trying to avoid that now.
Yeah,
They get
that's one spot where I feel like they do get kind of ampy.
Well, I don't want them thinking about it while we're
Yeah.
working.
Or as soon as you're done, it's like, oh, okay. Rather, they get to this like real zen spot and it's like, oh, but now it's grain time. Right? Even if they're not thinking about route while riding, as soon as you're off and moving away, walking out of the arena, their brain goes there rather than dwelling in that spot. Yeah, I don't like that rhythm or routine.
And it's amazing how they can spot a feed pan. And I've tried to break it up too. Like
Hmm.
in terms of in the day, it's like just because somebody else is getting it doesn't mean you're getting it. But I haven't hit upon that exact thing, you know. So yeah, once you feel a horse that is really truly peaceful. This is another thing, like we talk about seeing balance, these layers of let down and at peace. It's pretty interesting how much depth there is to perceive. What did Jeannie say? Classical conditioning is powerful. Ugh, yes, and so annoying, right? Jeannie, I mean, I guess we can use it to our advantage when we need it,
But
but
it's powerful even when you're not
yeah,
intending it, like any of those patterns. So what if I came to visit and I was doing like just following you around doing chores or helping set out pans or feed a couple of them? How um how much does that influence or disrupt the rhythm in your herd? Like just anybody, me, Nathan, some
not
random visitor that doesn't know anything about horses, do they feel that and does it change the whole dynamic or not really?
not really. And that's the other thing. Yeah, not really.
Hmm.
I feel like so I'm glad you said that though, because like feeding hay, if they're hungry, right? Like if it's been a while for whatever reason, excuse me. Ew, ew, excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Thank you. Then that's one thing. But if they're on an appropriate feed situation where they haven't been had an empty stomach for too long or anything like that, I can feed in pretty random order, stop and answer my emails in the middle of it all. It's just like they kind of have the gist of like this is all going to take a certain amount of time, and that's that, which is such a nice feeling when to the point where I am a lot more anxious about making sure I didn't miss anybody,
Mm.
because I'm not necessarily going to notice that. I've told you the funny stories about like being in the house and having one of them nicker at me like later. You're like, excuse me, you know, you forgot me. So I don't, I guess I'm just noticing the difference between that and hay. But yeah, like if somebody goes into the barn and I haven't fed yet and is messing around and they don't even, you know. So I would say no. I don't think it has, and they can certainly know that like let's just say that I'm not going to be, if I go to somebody else's barn, that I'm not the one, right?
Mm. Well, it's not that so much. The reason I ask is when I'm talking about the flow here, generally when someone's helping me, which usually is just they're in the way, right? it's more disruptive to me and the rhythm I'm able to create than the horses being like, "Oh, I don't know you. Who are you?" But again, like there's so many people in and out and around here and into paddocks. I guess that's why I ask at your place when it's like you have your flow when you're talking about them, the anxiety even being low grade of that anticipation. It sounds like you're like, I'd rather not that. Like I don't want them to be thinking grain, grain, grain. And
When is it coming?
so
Coming to
yeah,
me
when it's coming.
today?
Yeah.
And
And so, I mean, if you're thinking about that, you're obviously trying to minimize that and having, various levels of success and probably many times pretty good success with that. Um, how much would just the presence of someone else change that?
well, I'm just thinking of
Um,
times where, like, let's say I have people come in and help me, you know,
mhm,
different people, or people come work on the property, and
mhm.
then you have a crew of like 5 or 6 guys, and they're all kind of all over, or the male person walks through the barn. But is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah.
I don't
More,
know.
more so than someone being in and around the farm, but someone like doing chores with you, like I don't know. I guess how your horses are mostly, unless they're well in the summer though, they're all out, right? And you bring them in to feed grain.
No, a lot of times that if they're out, they're out. I
Mm.
haven't fed grain in so many years, so I'm gonna have to have another routine for that. I'm not for sure how that'll work when they're out. I do not
Well,
have a system for that yet. But
any case,
yeah. So it's
yeah.
an interesting thing when we're talking about disturbing the peace, and what
But
level of peace you find.
I guess I'm thinking of pattern interrupt. All right, so think of two scenarios. One, horses just know the routine and um, they just flow in. Someone else is there, maybe just opening the gate for you. Do they notice that? Does that affect their, "Oh, here comes the grain," because they're like, "Oh, who are you?" Or are they like, who are you?" Or "Why are you standing there as I walk past?" Not in a like, "You surprised me and startled me." I mean, that certainly happens with the training horses as they're first here and just used to coming in. They're like, "Oh, okay, I got the routine of, oh, I didn't expect you to be in that little," and we have a little corridor they walk past. And I'll sometimes have, I mean, Lydia's and Levi are both good enough to direct the horses, but I used to say when horses are coming in, go stand in there. And, you know, some of the horses that were used to it were still like, whoa, surprised, but not upset by it. And other training horses would come through and they'd be like, whoa, who are you? Until they settled in. Um, so just those having someone else there, maybe in the way of the flow of things, how much does that soften the focus on the grain or focus on what they're getting, or is it just not even noticed? Like, oh, hi, another person.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know the answer to that, just because I don't have that enough to
Yeah.
know. And I don't have, so the gal that helps me with my stalls on Friday, she feeds and cleans, but she does not halter my horses or turn them out. She's probably perfectly capable. She does not feed grain. It's like hay, water, clean the stalls. She does a great job. The horses are not worse after she's,
Mhm.
maybe Novella a tiny bit more, but Novella is so sensitive. Um, but yeah, I don't. Lord have mercy. I would definitely not want anybody else feeding grain right now, because doing that in the wrong manner. You have so many people that are skilled. Like any one of your girls, I would take. I'll be like, sure. And Mike, do it. But I'm just so, I realize, and thinking about like Revlon too, Michael, it's really interesting. Again, the first horse that I have had in a very long time that is clean, not clean, like pretty rad. Okay, so I'm not saying that clean is always the best, but in terms of having to think about what I want to put in regarding everything, and thinking about it in terms of her. I was wondering this morning, I'm like, how much am I overthinking this? But then I'm like, no, because I know what it's like to live with something that gets put down at the bottom. So all those tiny little things and how.
That's an interesting one. What live with what gets put down at the bottom? Like how much are those early on? Like you think of a, I mean, it's not often even, having horses coming through that I get a truly clean, not been handled horse. Um, it's been a while, but how much those early interactions, either when they were really young or who knows how they were first brought up, then they come into interacting with people a little bit more, into stalls, feeding routines, like we are just talking, leading, how much you really are in all cases trying to, not all cases, generally speaking, trying to undo some pattern of interaction
And
before you even get going, and how that's always kind of there under the surface. What's cool, Jody, I don't think is with us this, well, she's not here right now, but she might be listening later. um Indy was always one that was just kind of a little bit draggy. Like you go and lead her, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, you come." And it was just a constant maintenance. I mean, I can't tell you how many times Jody's like, "What do I do with this? Do I have to carry the flag when I go get her?" It's like, well, yeah, if you want to get it better, like you got to be able to find her a way to help her up the rope efficiently. Oh, Jody is here. She just didn't comment. Um, and so yesterday, a couple days ago, she's like, "It's just so amazing to like." We were just quickly, very briefly reflecting on interacting with horses, and they just, they have no feel, and they're leaning on you, pulling on you, not even super rudely so, but you got to walk somewhere and like they're not following, the rope comes tight and you kind of have to pull a little bit, or it's just a drag feel. And she was just like super excited because Indy was just super floating the rope, come out the back door, turn around, flexion all the way through there, floating the rope. And I was like, that's just cool, when because she got through a lot of drag, and had to work at that because it was very much a pattern that Indy had learned. And now to have her just weigh nothing and flow like water, and the rope does not come tight, is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean that's a thing. If it's any sort of seed has been planted, you're always, it's that much longer for them to come around, like Indy has, to where it's like, oh, I just don't lean on the rope. Like this is just what we do. Um,
And isn't it amazing how durable it is in the opposite way? Like if
yes.
so many good things are in your horse already, you can let someone else mess around with them. It's fine. Whatever.
Hmm.
Later, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like as the horses develop, there's so many horses that I've handed it like, yeah, you're fine. I don't care. It's not gonna wreck the horse because the horse already knows so many things. Now, like we've seen, it can eventually unravel. But
Yeah.
in terms of a little bit here or there, if it's like, no, you're not gonna. It's not so delicate. Is that what I'm trying to say? Like in the beginning, it's pretty delicate, and
Hmm.
there's a so yeah, and undoing it, like what Jody, I'm sure that's like so fun, right? Is to when you get through something and really change their mind. I love that. That whole process is so interesting. But having one that's clean and you're like observing, same thing with feather, obviously, but I just didn't know how much it is a little different with the horse. And Revlon is the first horse that I've done like that. So the delicacy of it and how much you really don't want, or how, I'm just saying for me, like being very protective of that, s- because you just want to lay the seeds, put the layers in, and then pretty soon it's going to be pretty durable, I think. And then,
Hmm.
like you're saying, have a bunch of different people ride them or put a bunch of different saddles on, or if the horse knows how to trailer load, somebody else just, it's you're not probably going to mess it up in one deal. But so Jody, like how many times would it take, do you think, for somebody else to do a shit job of leading Indy before she got draggy,
Probably not that many.
right? Because that's already in there. So this thing that I'm working on with Rook, what stuff around her head and her ears. I mean, she's just, we got to get through it, but it's pretty deep. And
Um,
I just, you just wonder, will it ever be all the way dug out of there? So we'll see. It's a good little project and data point. But why put something like that in there if you don't need to?
um,
All right. Well, what else? So challenge this weekend, you guys. Be in by midnight. That means you, Michael Sparling. You can search.
on Saturday.
Yeah,
When is it open?
Friday, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'll start letting everybody through about 7:20 our time here. So 7:20 Pacific Standard Time. Everybody, if you magically did not get the email, I sent out 5,000 emails. Sometimes they go to spam or promotion. But the chances of you not getting an email once you're on the email list are low. So you might have to hunt for it in your inbox somewhere. But you probably did get it. But you could just search for the 2026 Northwood Farms 12-week horsemanship challenge. You'll find it. And maybe you'll be one of the ones that the ghost just lets right on through.
You can
You'll
ride
s-
whatever horse, no rules, disrupt the community all you want because the
Jody
ghost gave you permission.
Jody's through.
Jody is? All right, have at it, Jody. Switch horses, break the rules.
Like, thank God the people that are there pretty much know what's going on. But we want to make sure that you're through. And so, yeah, let's all be excited for 2026. One thing I would say about the mindset going into the challenge, um, I know you probably will have a few things to add to this, but one thing is, you kind of commit to a plan. Obviously, you assess the plan. 40 hours, 30 rides. Do you think it's possible for you to do the plan? Okay. Number two, I would say just sincerely do your best. That's what all of us can do. And that is good enough. Now, only each individual gets to decide whether you did your best or not. But I would encourage both sides of the coin. Be cautious of both sides of the coin. The first one is judging somebody else. Well, I did this. Why can't you do this? Right? I suggest not doing that because it's never apples to apples. Even yes, Jody, you have rules to follow. Ah ha ha. Uh, um, and then on the other side of it, try not to be like, well, they are doing this, so I should be able to do that. I was thinking about that even with thinking about the Rook challenge that I currently have. And Buck would do this, Gary would do this, whomever would do that, and maybe those things would work, but that it's not always a pat answer to that. Cut and dried, somebody else would do it, therefore I should do it. So again, both sides of the coin. I recommend not judging what other people are doing just because that's your personal experience. And also don't judge yourself comparing to other people, right? That's always a bad deal. And so the culture of the 12-week horsemanship challenge is that we have a common goal, but however that process pursuing that goal shapes up for each individual, we should respect that, including ourselves. The other one is no unsolicited advice. I've been getting unsolicited advice lately, and I'm like, am I modeling that behavior? Maybe I should make sure I'm not doing that. Because it is the worst when someone comes up to you and is like, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. So it's terrible. And I know everybody goes through, or a lot of people go through that. And so in the 12-week horsemanship challenge, my goal is to provide an environment. And those of you who have been together with us for 15 years, um, and jumped in along the way, know that that is a huge benefit. So if you see someone randomly giving unsolicited advice, flag it and do not do it. It's just bad. It makes people feel stressed, and it's not up to me to judge you. If someone comes to me for advice, or like in the challenge, you guys, if somebody posts, "Hey, I have this going on. Can you does anyone have any advice?" Have at it because they've asked for advice. But we want to be able to like operate in our horsemanship without somebody else chattering along on what we should do, what they've done in comparison. Bad. Anything to add to that, to Michael?
No. No, both. I mean, unsolicited advice for sure, but I like the first two you mentioned. Don't compare to others and don't expect others to, well, you should be able to do it, or I have to do it that way, or I should be able to do it. I mean, that's just,
I did do it that way. That's another one. Well, this is what I did. And it's
yeah,
like, uh-huh.
that's just, yeah, it's a good way to be
If
miserable and lose friends.
Yeah, be miserable, lose friends, and inevitably you end up doing it to yourself too. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm the one making myself feel bad.
Hmm.
So
But then, yes, unsolicited advice as well. But I think the way you said the first two was pretty spot on. That's good advice, challenge or not.
true, true. And so the dream is that all of us that want to get together and have a place to kind of keep track of our own personal activities, right, in the challenge. So it's a place to put little updates, videos, um, pictures, and it's a place to encourage other people. That's the thing. You can always say, your horse is so pretty. Oh, it looks cold there. Great job. Like, you could say anything you want, but do not be like, you shouldn't have a tie down on that horse. How come you're using treats? No, 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 no. Well, I did this, so you should do. Don't do that. Oh, Lord have mercy. Don't do that. And so it's a place where you can post your updates and not feel like that is going to happen to you. And what's always neat is once we get rolling, don't you think, Michael? In the first 2 weeks, once that becomes apparent that those are the two sacred deals, then everybody sort of unfolds and relaxes into rolling along at their own or within their own constraints. That's my favorite thing. Also, let me just add, you guys, don't get hurt in the first 2 weeks. That's when people get hurt, broken bones, strained this, da 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 da, because they're pushing it too fast. There's 12 weeks. You don't have to do anything too unsafe and crazy. It's inevitable. Happens every year, and usually it's in within the first 2 weeks. So take your time to do things safely. Yep. All right. Well, we'll be almost towards the end of the first week the next time our show rolls around. That's it. That's always shocking how fast.
51 to go.
51 to go. That's right.
51 weeks is all you got left. Just 51 weeks.
In the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. TikTok. All right. Well, you guys, thanks for being here this week. Happy New Year, everyone. Michael and I will see you as always. Corey says, excited for the challenge. And my word for 26 is forward. Oh, multiple meanings. Let's go. Yay. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah, maybe we'll talk more about our words of the year next week. All right, you guys. Well, Michael and I will see you next Thursday morning at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
8:30 Central.
Have a good week, everybody. See you in